Welcome to the SIAC Sit Down on HBCU Game Day. I am Sly the Sports Guy, and I am joined by the one and only Mr. Jamie Walker. How you doing, Jamie?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you doing, man? It's a beautiful day in the A.
Beautiful day in the A.
It is.
Hey, but we talking about football, so that make it even better.
It is, man. Tis the season.
Ain't no such
tis
thing.
the end of the season,
It's
man.
getting close, man.
It is real close.
It's getting close. I don't know. It's bittersweet though, because it's getting close to the end. Kind of sad, but it's getting close to playoffs.
It is, man.
So that gets you back hype again.
It does get you hype because I want to see exactly what the SIAC will do. Had a banner year last year when it came to the playoffs with Miles and even within the CIAA Virginia Union. So we'll see if we can take that and advance it further.
Well, we might as well jump into these games.
Well, let's go on.
We might as well jump into these games. Had some good ones, man. Had some good ones this week. I guess we'll start off with the number one ranked team, the Albany State Golden Rams. Albany State Golden Rams taking on Savannah State. And according to the scoreboard, it was pretty close.
Yeah.
Scored 21-18 thanks to Savannah State Athletics over there, Savannah State football for the graphic. The young men, Albany State, they won 21-18. Had a late touchdown kind of tacked on at the end to make it 18. But what I'm noticing about Albany State, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think Albany State kind of plays down to their competition.
You know what? I've heard that. I've heard people say that. I think it's a possibility. I would beg to say, especially in the first year of the Quinn Gray regime, that was the case. I just think they're getting their best shot. Now, I think they're getting teams' best shot, but I also think Savannah State's not that bad defensively, man. I think they're not getting their just due defensively. Now, offensively, there's some improvement that could be that could exist there. And they did a good job getting back into this ball game. But, playing the full complement of quarters offensively, it's a lot to be desired when it comes to them offensively, man. So, Albany State did what it had to do on senior day to win the ball game, man. That's all you can ask for. And I think for Quinn Gray, who was upset after this game, according to some, shout out to Vaughn Wilson of HBCU Game Day, looked at their show and talked about this game in particular. He said Quinn Gray was not happy. So I think it's a character win, but also giving bulletin board material and also something to strive for when it comes to that team going into this Fountain City Classic.
Well, you talked about the Savannah State offense, and Savannah State offense, I think only 3 quarterbacks played this game.
Only 3.
Well, 3 people threw passes,
Okay.
so I don't know if they're quarterbacks, but only 3 people played. They were led by Rashawn Truell. He was 19 for 46 for 213 yards with 3 interceptions.
Ooh.
That was tough.
That is tough.
That's tough.
Because you're talking about having to climb your way back in the ball game. And again, 21-18, they tacked on a late touchdown to kind of make the score quote-unquote respectable. But at the same time, man, you can't continue to have those kind of offensive woes. And in my experiences in both coaching and playing and all the things, man, when one side of the ball is that dominant and the other one isn't, you're lucky you don't see a division in the team in general, man. So
that locker room could be rough.
Yes, it could.
Could be. And then you look on the other side, Isaiah Knowles, he was 18 for 19 for 182 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions.
Yeah, he didn't have his best game. But still efficient. Still efficient as far as delivering the ball and the receptions, but at the same time made a couple of mistakes, inopportune times. And I tell you what, I'll go back to the character win. He can show improvement. We were seeing this praise, especially in that Benedict game. But when you're talking about coming into this game, I think the momentum may have been down a little bit. It may speak to what you were talking about as playing down to the competition, but also it may be a great thing going into these final 2 games because what? They've clinched the championship game.
They are championship bound. The Albany State Golden Rams are championship bound. Shout out to the Albany State Instagram page with that graphic right there. They're heading to the championship. No matter what happens in the Fountain City Classic, they're still going to host the championship game. They will still host the championship game. So now, kind of just playing for pride, company, school pride, Fort Valley playing for their school pride.
Hey, listen, when we get to Fort Valley, I was down there this past weekend.
All right.
We talk about just how much pride they have because we'll talk about it when we get there.
Well, you know what? I mean, since you got it up, since you brought it up.
Well, since I did.
Let's go down right here. Fort Valley taking on Miles. Fort Valley taking on Miles. They played at Fort Valley.
They did.
One of the better stadiums. I like Fort Valley Stadium.
I do
like Fort Valley Stadium. But Fort Valley won 24-14, 24-14. Fort Valley took out Miles. And Miles, it's hard to say new kid on the block when they won the championship last year. But Miles was a team you wasn't really expecting much out of. Fort Valley, another team you wasn't expecting much out of. But to see both of them play this year, they showed that the future is bright for both of them.
Absolutely, man. I mean, because we talked bad about these squads early on in the year.
I did.
You did. You did.
You're a nice guy. You ain't really talk bad.
I mean, so somebody, the yin and the yang. We gotta, kind of bounce off each other. That kind of deal. You always gonna tell the truth. I'm gonna make it sound pretty good.
Thank you.
Thank you. But I'll tell you what, man. This was a good ball game because early on, offensively they went back and forth. I think the halftime score was 17-14, and what you saw, first of all, I'm gonna back up a little bit. When I walked in the stadium, you could see the broadcast truck and everybody, but you could see a contingency of Fort Valley players looking at the Albany State game, cheering for Savannah State. Yeah, I was like, what are they doing? Because, they have all the scores up. So don't tell me that regardless of whether they're going to the championship or not, that this is not a rivalry game going into this Fountain City Classic. They can't stand each other.
Oh, yeah.
So at the end of the day, man, hey, I'm looking forward to that Fountain City Classic as well. But just them keeping up with the just Albany State and what they were doing and hoping they lose, hey, it adds some pepper to this whole thing. But give Fort Valley credit for a second, man. When you're talking about a team that has had the ups and downs that they've had all year. They started the senior quarterback, Donovan Anthony, but then quickly Sadiq Teal came in and played a really good game, man. Mm-hmm. Like, I know DJ Hudson, got hurt, had the concussion, and he is part of the future, but Sadiq Teal played a really good game. And that three-headed monster that they have offensively is really good. Calabero, you have the likes of Wilson.
Yep, Alexander Wilson.
Yeah, Alexander Wilson as well. They did really well, man, in being able to run the football and had a very balanced offense. Sadiq Teal even used his legs to set up, running and passing, man. He would escape the pocket a little bit, keeping his eyes upfield, which a lot of running quarterbacks do not do. They run to run and not run to pass. And so he did well in that. The defenses, kind of was short in the first half. But second half, Fort Valley's defense came to play. Miles was on a 3-game winning streak and did some things that were very playing complementary football, but that second half, they were shut completely down. The pass rush of Fort Valley really came to play. So it was a good game for Fort Valley, and I'm curious to see what they do in this Fountain City Classic.
One of the things that impressed me, Fort Valley's defense gave up 190 total yards. 190 total yards in the game. That's defense. They gave up 55 rushing, 135 passing. Fort Valley's defense has been the bright spot on this team all year long. Offense struggling to catch up. Offense can't really catch up and hadn't caught up. But that defense, oh my goodness, they've been baffling people all year, and this was a great defensive performance from Fort Valley. Took advantage of Miles, but
they did. And I think it was a complimentary game plan defensively to go against Miles' passing attack. Because we talked about Brentley Van Diver for Miles playing well, and that, offensive brain trust, coaching staff, whatever, did well to set him up for success. But they weren't able to run the ball effectively with Roger Thomas and Edward Osley, and that really left Van Diver kind of by itself to throw the ball around the yard. Darnell Stevens and others played really good secondary play. I mean, it was really good. The pass rush came alive. It was really good. Jaden Walker and all of them, man. It was a really good game plan by Fort Valley.
Well, here's the thing. If we talk about great defense, guess we got to talk about no defense.
Oh, boy.
We'll have to move on to the next one, the next game up there in Frankfort, Kentucky. The Thoroughbreds, the red-hot Kentucky State Thoroughbreds. The red-hot Kentucky State Thoroughbreds took on the ice-cold Clark Atlanta Panthers. And I tell you what, man, it was a kid over there for Kentucky State. Darius Cyprien. Darius Cyprien had a game.
He did.
That young man had a game. Young man set a record 254 receiving yards. 254 receiving. How do you get 254 receiving yards in a game, man? 6 catches. 6 catches, 254 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. What a performance by that kid, Cyprien.
That's unreal.
Unreal.
You talked about it, but I guess looking at it, man, it was
scary.
Very
scary. Got to. I watched the replay of the game. And shout out to the guy calling the game. I don't know his name, but he's a vet. Been calling games for a long time. But he did a great job calling the game. But seeing that kid Cyprien, oh my goodness, he's a man. He's a grown man.
Absolutely. And don't forget John McCall stats. He had over 100 yards himself on 4 catches.
4 catches, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Man, look here, those 2 receivers right there.
Yes.
And then here's the thing, the guy throwing him the ball. I talked for the past 2 years, I've talked about our DJ Denham Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I got the pleasure of calling Denham Johnson when they played against Allen. They played against Allen 2 years ago. It was kind of his come-out game. I'm not sure what happened. Somebody got hurt or something like that, but he came in the game, and he just broke off a bunch of big runs, and he almost led Kentucky State to that victory against Allen. He came back last year, didn't quite have a year that you wanted out of him or expected out of him. He had problems. Let's be honest. He had problems throwing the ball.
Yes.
He had problems. I thought he was just a running quarterback. This year, they bring him in there. They bring in Bardell.
Yeah.
They bring in another quarterback. And now Bardell, he was on some watch lists nationally early on. And Bardell didn't let you down.
No, not at all.
He was doing everything he wanted to do. He was making the throws, doing everything he needed to do. But kudos to Coach Huggins. Coach Huggins, he let Johnson play too. So they were kind of splitting time. I don't know how the rotation was set up, but they were both splitting time. Both were getting passes in, getting their throws in. And then Bardell went down, and now Denham Johnson had to step up and take over. And the young man stepped up and took over big.
They made it work, man.
Yeah, they
made it work because Bardell is a totally capable passer. I mean, he was doing the majority of the work passing. And Denham Johnson, to some degree, was still kind of known as the running quarterback. I think you can kind of erase some of that. He is still probably the better runner out of the 2, but you can see he is very capable of throwing the football, always has been. And I think when you're talking about quarterbacks at this conference, I said it before, listen, the quarterback play in the SIAC is phenomenal. It really is. The quarterback play in Division II football, especially amongst the HBCU ranks, is better.
And speaking of quarterback play, you look on the other side. of that game, Xavier Jackson, freshman for Clark Atlanta, he was 32 for 49 for 425 yards. 425 yards, 4 touchdowns and an interception. He threw a heck of a game. And then the leading receiver in the conference, Amon Harris. Amon had 15 receptions, 225 yards, 3 touchdowns. Hey, those guys were playing. I'm sorry, 4 touchdowns. He had the Albany special. He scored 4 touchdowns in the game.
Just eye-popping numbers, man. When you're talking about the way that these passing offenses are set up, first of all, if you're talking about, and I know, Coach Huggins calls the plays for Kentucky State, Coach Marvin Cunningham calls them for Clark Atlanta, but make no mistake, Coach Keaton's hands are all in the offense when it comes to the passing system. They work well together. But man, you're talking about 2 of the just upper echelon coaches when it comes to passing in general, man.
Yes.
If you like offensive football, you love this game. But having said all that, Coach Felton Huggins right now is hot, man.
He red hot, man.
He really is.
And that's the thing. Me being selfish, Coach Felton is out there. The offensive performance that his team is putting up there now, he might not be at Kentucky State long. I'm telling you, that me being selfish, I want to see him coach.
Yes.
I want to see him coach in the SIAC, but I understand sometimes you got to make those business decisions. I'm not putting nothing on him. I know you Thoroughbred fans, don't come and jump on me, but the man is hot. The man is hot. He calling some plays. He got something cooking up.
Listen, and on media day, even the commissioner said, we're a hot conference. Hot conference. People come get your players. People come get your coaches. It is what it is. I mean, they do a good job of replacing them, but it is what it is. You have phenomenal coaching that goes on within the SIAC. And so, yeah, for positions that, I won't call it elevation because I think our ball is quality. It might be monetary or might want to choose to live in another region for whatever reason. It is what it is. But yes, there is some great coaching going on in the SIAC.
Well, next up on the docket is Edward Waters. Edward Waters taking on Central State, and the upset. Central State but is this an upset though?
No.
Is it an upset?
No. Listen, Sly, I told you. Central State was going to get somebody. They were too close. They already got Fort Valley. So going down to Duval, we talked about the ride and the distance and all of that. You always make an emphasis of long bus ride and this. Listen, they came out there and early and often just kept, attacking, and Noah Biden didn't have his finest hour in that particular game, and Central State just kept playing. And even without their quarterback, their starting quarterback, they were able to muster up enough offense and play good enough defense to win that game. So, man, give kudos to Central State. The Marauders, Coach Tony Carter and others, they're doing their thing, man.
Well, let's talk about good enough defense. Good enough defense means forcing a quarterback to throw 5 interceptions. 5 interceptions. I don't know who Noah Barton was throwing the ball to, but he wasn't throwing it to the right team.
Not at all.
I don't know. Was he hanging out with Chauncey Billups? Did I cross the line? My bad. We'll take that in the post-edit. but the young man on defense over there, Dylan Purry had 3 interceptions. I mean, if you pick off 2, you think you'll stop throwing to the side.
Pretty much.
And he managed to get the 3rd one. And this is the second guy who's had 3 interceptions, Darnell Stevens from Fort Valley.
Yep.
He had 3 earlier this year. But that Central State defense, man, they make things happen, man. I remember, I think the week before, Dominique Davis had an interception return for a touchdown.
He did.
Central State defense is tough, and look at that. They're 3-5 in the conference.
They are.
Or 3-4 in the conference.
Messed around and became one of the better teams in the SIAC, and you're in the middle of the pack now, man. Like, we can't talk about this squad the way we used to, in that they go toe-to-toe with anybody. Kentucky State, Central State was one of their tougher matches this year when they played in Detroit. I think it was 34-24 game.
Yep.
So defensively, they were always right there. Tony Carter being a, ex-defensive back, and the swag of him. This team has come in and really, they don't take any prisoners. It's one of those things where they'll play whoever, whenever. And they don't care about your feelings. They don't care about your pedigree. They're coming in to kill, steal, and destroy if they need to. So they have been that squad.
And they're one of the squads this year. They managed to hold Darius Thomas to under 100 yards. Darius, he had 97 yards on 26 carries, did not get into the end zone. And shout out to Darius Thomas, though. Even though he didn't quite get into the end zone, he has a chance to become the first 1,000-yard rusher in Edward Waters history. He has a chance. So it just depends on what he does next week in the battle of the AME Church. Should be interesting.
Very significant battle now that we're looking at these standings because some things may be switched around. We'll see.
I think we'll get into that when we talk about that later on. We'll have to get into that, why that game might mean something. That game might mean something. Well, there you go. Well, I tell you what, a lot of good things going on in the SIAC. Let's talk about homecoming. Homecoming down in Alabama, down in Tuskegee. Tuskegee played Lane College, and in Lane College, Tuskegee took off with a win, scored 18-13. Tuskegee making things happening on homecoming now. We talked about the numbers at homecoming, man. They looked like they had a pretty nice crowd down there. They had the RVs and the tents and everything down there. And they ended up coming out with the win. And this time, Bryson McGrew was the starting quarterback. Last week, they went with the freshman. Now they'll go back with the other freshman. Bryson McGrew didn't have a superior game,
right?
But he did make that crucial mistake, a crucial turnover. He went 13 for 24, 114 yards, 2 touchdowns. 114, that ain't much passing, but he ain't turned the ball over.
Again, you're talking about these coaches shaping game plans based on personnel. So it's a thing where, McGrew, you didn't want him to be out there because when he got thrown into the mix due to injury, you're talking about a young guy. And so having to learn, when real bullets, quote unquote, are flying, for lack of a better term, you got to see what you got. And so, he is capable. He is very capable, but it is also up to the coaching staff to be able to put him in the best position to win. And I think they did that, eking out a win against Lane. At the end of the day, whether it's by 5, 25, or 1, as long as you get the victory, that's all that counts.
A win is a win. A win is a win when it all comes down to it. So big game. And then I also want to add on that Bryson McGrew, he had 57 yards rushing. So, he's a dual threat guy. He didn't get everything in the air, but he got some of it on the ground too. So that was a big time pickup for that young man. So now what do we have left out there? We have my guys in the AUC. My guys in the AUC. Morehouse played Allen. And you see it right there. Final score 28-17. Shout out to the Allen University Instagram page right there. They're providing you with the graphics and the video.
Shout out to them, first of all, man, about getting those graphics. They have a really active Instagram and Twitter now, man.
They are.
It's it's out there.
They are, and the quality of the stuff that's Allen's Instagram page right there. What we're watching these highlights, man. The quality of the film work they're putting out there. Hey, man, shout out to Allen.
Yeah.
But like I like to say though, everybody looks good when they play Morehouse. Everybody looks good when they play Morehouse.
Here we go.
So we look at what they did, man. The way they just, when I look at Allen and the type of team that Allen has, they're 4-5 in the SIAC. But my concern about Allen, I'm sorry, they're 4-5 overall and 4-3 in the SIAC. But my always concern about Allen is them being consistent.
Yes.
Them being consistent. They would play up like when they played Clark Atlanta. Fabian Duncan, leading rusher in the conference, went out there and just totally dominated Allen. Came back the next week, kind of fell down. Dismukes, the quarterback, he went out there and played a great game against Clark Atlanta. The next 2 weeks, he fell off the planet. He had a bye week, kind of propped himself back up after the bye week, and then last week and this week, Dismukes is playing a pretty good game. So if you look at those two, Fabian Duncan and Dismukes, you look at their stats for the game today. You're going to pull up the Fabian Duncan. He was 23 for 93 yards, almost got 100, was real close. And Jamar Dismukes, he was 16 out of 23, 268 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. So, he played a really good game. He's trying to get back on track, and I think that's what Allen needs. They need Dismukes to stay on track because, let's be honest, they're going to keep on handing the ball off to Duncan because Coach Pearl like to run. What they say the P stand for?
Power.
The P stand for power. So Coach Pearl going to run the ball. So
listen, I think when you have Fabian Duncan running it effectively, that just gives even more golden opportunities for Jameer Dismukes. Mm-hmm. When you're talking about the way he's able to operate, number one, he's the complementary figure when it comes to Fabian Duncan running the ball. He runs the ball and runs the ball and runs the ball and pounds the rock. Jameer Dismukes is able to go backdoor. So when you're talking about that running game existing, I think they coexist with each other. Don't get me wrong. Fabian Duncan's a grown man. He is. However, Jameer Dismukes gives them another option whenever they are keying in on Fabian Duncan. Mm-hmm. So he's able to pass out of that just hardcore running game, and it just makes their offense so much better. So when Fabian Duncan is on, Jameer Dismukes is going to be better.
There you go. So now look on the other side of that game. Miles Scott, young quarterback for Morehouse, he had his 4th 300-yard passing game. Young man went 22 for 42, 252 yards, but 2 interceptions. And he was sacked 5 times. So we know which guys he picked up from the library this time. He picked up the wrong set of guys from the library. They helped him block.
Maybe they just need the correct study time where all of them get together and get the same. He can't pick 5 out of the what? It's been about 20 guys.
About 20 guys. He picked when he stopped at the library and he asking people if they want to play the game this Saturday. Sometimes those good guys he saw, they might have had something else. It's basketball season, so they might have wanted to head over to the gym, help out Coach Dixon or something. So
that may have been the case.
That might have been the case. Might have been the case. So that's why you got the 5 wrong guys again. Okay. So it was a tough loss for Morehouse. Tough loss for Morehouse again. Big win for Allen. Going into next week. There'll be some. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about next week. So our final game is actually my first homecoming I did this year. I usually do 1 or 2 homecoming games a year, but that's the first homecoming I got to call, and it was Benedict College playing Virginia University. Is it of Lynchburg or at Lynchburg?
I think it's of.
It's of Lynchburg?
Of
okay.
Lynchburg.
Well, doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does.
It doesn't really matter. Score 42-10. Now, I'm going to be honest. Lynchburg has been kind of the butt of a lot of people's jokes. They've been a butt of a lot of people's jokes. They are some true road warriors. They go a whole bunch of places and play, and they usually go and take some butt cuttings when they get there. But I had a talk with our Coach Newman, their head coach, before the game, and he said, hey, man, we're going to play everybody. We ain't scared. We're going to go out there. You play us. The kids who play for me, if somebody wants to recruit them, now they got film saying, hey, this is what he looks like when he's playing a Division I team. All right? And Virginia University of Lynchburg, they got some talent out there. They got some studs. Their quarterback was hurt, so they were playing with a backup quarterback, but they had 2 running backs who were really good. The 2 coaches' sons, actually. 2 Newman boys. They were really good. They had a stud defensive back, cornerback over there on the side. You know, he's on all the little watch lists and everything. Virginia University of Lynchburg is good. But Benedict, they have monsters. Benedict has some monsters.
They do.
Up front. Where's my producer? I gave him the perfect setup, man. When I said Benedict had, thank you, Mr. Producer. Thank you, Mr. Producer. These are what these guys did. These are what these guys did up front. Desmond Thompson Jr., Demetrius
Patterson.
Oh, man, we got a misprint up there. We're going to have to change that in the post-edit. Demetrius Patterson and
Israel Nwokocha.
Israel Nwokocha. We're going to have to change that in the post-edit. But anyway, those guys are monsters.
They are.
They are monsters, and they totally went out there on Saturday and set the tone. And I'm talking about they not only set the tone fast, they set it hard. They're rude out front. And then, you know, Darius Ocean, they're showing Darius Ocean throwing a couple of touchdown passes right here. A bit disappointed in Darius Ocean. I was a bit disappointed in him. He had a decent game, but it's not quite what I expected or what I wanted out of him. I mean, he led his team to a victory, so you got to give him credit for that. He did lead his team to a victory, but it wasn't a very impressive game. Young man was 6 for 14, 53 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions.
If they end up in the championship game, he's going to have to improve that significantly. Because, again, being one side of the ball heavy is not going to work against a balanced team.
It will not. It will not.
What I'll give credit for VUL is that over the years you've seen them kind of improve. They've had some players, and in fact took Livingstone 14 at halftime. So depth is definitely their issue when it comes to just the football field. But yeah, Benedict did what they needed to do on homecoming to get that victory, to be dominant as they always are. But future football, they're going to have to improve some things and shore some things up if they hope to, number one, win the SIAC, and number two, advance in the playoffs if they get there.
Yeah, and speaking of Benedict and all the stuff that they did on offense, they had Benedict has that nice 3-headed running back attack that I like. David Smith, Ashawn Durant, and Tristan Morgan. You look at Tristan Morgan, he had 9 carries, 103 yards, 2 touchdowns for Tristan Morgan. So big-time performance for Morgan. And the way Benedict kind of just controlled the game just by running. They ran real hard straight at Virginia Union, and it came down to just a battle of attrition, really, because Benedict has those big offensive linemen. And even though Virginia Lynchburg, they did have some big kids, they just don't have enough of them.
Right.
They just don't have enough of them. And so Benedict started to lean on them, you know, and it was homecoming. So they put on a show for the homecoming crowd, man. And speaking of the homecoming crowd, Benedict had a great showing at homecoming. You know, like our people do, we ain't really getting to the stands till about midway through the first, second quarter. Then they started to get in the stands. But outside the stadium was still full. It was still full outside the stadium. But they did manage to pack the stadium for homecoming. And it was also senior day because it was the last game.
Yes.
So that halftime, on the board, it said 30 minutes. Ended up being about a 45-minute halftime. Wow. Benedict got 2 penalties, 2 15-yard penalties because of the extended halftime. But shout out to all the people, the hospitality, everything at Benedict. Dennis Schweitzer, SID, takes care of you. Got to interview Dr. Clark Artis, the president. Oh, wow. You know, she #1 president in the SIAC. Got to make sure #1. Number one president, SIAC.
You gonna get a call? You know you're gonna get a
I'm
text.
gonna get a text. Come, Mister. I'm point. There you go, Faison. You my guy, but you know, no offense, Faison. You still my guy, but Dr. Clark Artist is number one president in the SIAC. But shout out to all the people at Benedict, man. And one thing I do like about this show, man, we give shout outs to people on this show.
Yes.
People who we appreciate all the fans. We appreciate people come up to talk to us. And, you know, a lot of people are, you know, football fans, and they have maybe their kid play on the team. But I had a young man came up to me. It was him and his wife and his uncle, and they say they listen to the show all the time. So I say, yeah, man, which one your kid? What he play? And he said, nah, my kid on the band. I just like y'all show, man. And his kid name was Desmond, I think. I'm not 100% sure. But shout out to that gentleman, man. I appreciate you watching the show, man. And I appreciate the Benedict Band of Distinction.
Yes.
Band of Distinction, man. Great band. One of the great, you know, they had a viral moment a couple of years ago with the guy playing the trombone.
Yep.
The guy, I forgot the guy's name, but I know he's actually from Winnsboro, Fairfield Central High School, where Allen plays their games at.
Wow.
Now. But I don't know the guy's name, though, so whatever. It's nice to know. But
we were chopping it up about the great venues of the SIAC, and even from an announcer's perspective. We're going to get into that.
I think, yeah, Benedict's, I think from the announcer's perspective, Benedict is the best stadium. I mean, well, period. People get mad when I say this, but I think Benedict is the best stadium in the SIAC by far. And also, if you look at Division II stadiums in the nation, Benedict ranks up there with the Division II stadiums in the nation. I think kudos to the people in Columbia, South Carolina for what they do. All right, enough about Benedict.
Okay.
We went over the games, last week games. We usually give our rankings. But we pretty much know the rankings. I mean, it ain't too much we can change about the ranking. So what we kind of want to do, we didn't get a chance to talk about the statistical leaders in the conference. The statistical leaders in the conference, and, you know, we start off with the easy stuff. You know, we'll go to the passing leaders in the conference. And right now, surprisingly, when you look at the conference list, on top of the list, they start off by yards per game. Yards per game is a youngster from Clark Atlanta University. Mm-hmm. He only played 6 games.
Exactly.
But he is leading with 299 yards per game. That's Xavier Jackson is averaging 299 yards per game. He's thrown for 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, thrown for right there at 1,800 yards, 1,795 yards. That's Xavier Jackson leading in yards per game. But your overall leader, Miles Scott from Morehouse.
He's been doing well.
Morehouse.
Despite you talking about his offensive line every week.
Morehouse, he is leading the conference with 2,215 yards total passing yards. Young man has 14 touchdowns, but he has 15 interceptions. 15 interceptions.
Hey, man, eluding the pass rush, trying to get rid of the ball.
Yeah, he got to get them. Got to get 5 new guys from the library, man. He find those guys. And next on the list is Dismukes. He has 2,043 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. 5 interceptions. Big time performance from that young guy.
Absolutely, because he came into this season. You already saw the flashes last year. Mm-hmm. They beat some teams they shouldn't have beaten because it was a brand new regime. They were trying to get it straight, and he came in after following, a pretty good quarterback and absolutely tore up, the league. So you saw his potential coming into the season, and despite some peaks and valleys, he's done really well this year. Especially again with that running game of Fabian Duncan. He's been a definite benefactor in the passing game as well. And they have some really good receivers, Nanders Lawrence and others being able to catch the ball for him. So, man, give Jameer Dismukes his props.
All right, those were your passing leaders for the conference. All right, we talked about the leading passer, so now let's get to the rushing game, man. Let's get to the rushing game. Right now, leading the conference in rushing already with 1,000 yards and still one more game to go is Fabian Duncan. Fabian Duncan, he has 1,071 yards and 11 touchdowns. He's leading the conference in both rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. Fabian Duncan, impressive so far in this season.
Because the P stands for what?
P stands for power.
Yeah, it is.
Pearl he gonna run at you. And then Darius Thomas, he's getting close to 1,000 yards. He has 901 yards. So next week's game might be the quickest game in history.
It might be.
they might, with them two running backs going, that might be the quickest game in history. And then coming in third place in the conference right now is Tion Weiss. He has 656 yards with 7 touchdowns. So those are your leading rushers. Now, if we look on the receiving side, right now it's Amon Harris by far. Amon Harris is the lone D1A AFCA coaches All-American in the conference right now. Young man has 67 receptions, 857 yards, 8 touchdowns, leading the conference in every receiving category. There he is. He is a threat.
Amon Harris is one of the best receivers that has ever been in the SIAC. You just got to call it what it is. We thought we wouldn't see him this year, but came back to Clark Atlanta, and he's dominated, even with a different quarterback, even with the changes that went on. He has still been a dominant receiver and can catch it. He is the full complement of skills that you want to see in a receiver. Elusive, he'll go up and get it. He's just been the man. I know we're winding down in the year, but I will miss that young man being in the conference.
True, very true. And then you have the next two receivers on the same team battling each other. You have Darius Cyprien. He has 32 catches for 781 yards. And then John McCall, he has 44 catches for 621 yards. These both two guys at Kentucky State who will go and get it. They will go and get it.
I'm looking at you name all of them in a row. What if all of them were on the same squad? You're talking about an elusive just force at receiver, because you got one that can go in between the tackles, one that can go up in the air and go get anything you want in John McCall.
Yes, sir.
And then Cyprien can do a little bit of both.
Cyprien can run right by you. He'll run right by you, and then Amon, he's going to catch it wherever you put it.
Yes.
So, that would be scary to have all three of them out there.
Very much so.
We need to figure out how to get a SIAC versus the CIAA All-Star game at the end of the year.
You'll see some of that in it. I would love to see that game. Now, some of these receivers, I know John McCall is on the Legacy Bowl.
And
he got called
Amon
Harris. So yeah,
both of them have got that call for the Legacy Bowl. So that would be interesting to see those two youngsters out there playing in the Legacy Bowl, the HBCU Legacy Bowl.
Yes,
big time event. I definitely plan on being there.
Yeah.
Well, those are some of your leaders here coming into the season. Now,
no, you switching to defense.
Oh, you want to talk about defense?
Listen, man, listen. Come on, man, linebacker.
Well, okay.
Some tackles, some sacks.
Well, check this out. Here's the thing. We go and pull up the defensive totals, and without any surprise to anyone, the guy leading the league in tackles with 114 tackles is Dominique Davis from Central State. Dominique Davis has been a force in this conference for the past 3 years, I think.
Yes.
He has been a force in this conference, without a shot, the best linebacker in this conference for the past 3 years. Dominant. Young man has 5 sacks, 114 tackles. How many solos? 50 solo tackles. 64 solo tackles. He is just all over the field,
All
Dominique.
over the field, man.
Dominique. And then next is Robert Miles. Robert Miles, the next guy on the list, has 83 tackles. That shows you how impressive Dominique Davis is. He has 31 more tackles than the next guy. And then Sean Johnson, a Morehouse man.
Yeah.
A Morehouse man. He's next on the list. He has 74 tackles. But then we go to what I like to see, the sacks. The sacks leading the conference in sacks thanks to a 5-sack game. My goodness.
Yeah.
How do you get 5 sacks in a game?
I do not know.
Well, that's Xavier Esquilin. He has 11 total sacks. And then you have Amari Fleming from Allen. He has 10.5. And then Mathis Davis from Central State. He has 10 sacks. And that's our next on the list, man. That Central State defense, man.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's just one of those things, man. Sometimes that offense just can't catch up to the defense.
Yes.
And that's the issue with Central State.
It is.
Offense can't catch up with that defense. And then we'll go over there. Interceptions leading the conference. We got a whole bunch of people tied with 4 interceptions. Navy Curry from Kentucky State. David Law Lattimore from Edward Waters. Dominique Davis has 4 interceptions. I did not know that.
That's crazy.
I did not know that.
That is crazy.
This young man's putting up All-American numbers.
He really is.
He putting up All-American numbers. 4 interceptions, 5 sacks. My goodness. And it was that Gainey Tyrell. No, I'm sorry. Dylan Purry. He has 4 interceptions. So, yeah, hey, big-time coverage guys out
Gotta
there
love
doing their things, man, doing their things. Well, now let's do my favorite part.
Go ahead.
The preview of next week. The preview of next week. We might as well start. No, we're going to say that one because that one might mean the most. So we're going to go to the AUC. The Battle of the AUC. Morehouse visiting Clark, Atlanta. Not a long bus trip.
Not at all.
Not a long bus trip.
Do they get on a bus to go down the street?
Well, first of all, neither one of them has played like they deserve a seat on the bus. They should just walk straight over to the stadium. But they might put them on the van and let them ride around the corner. I don't know, man. But that's the Battle of the AUC, man. And both of them not playing their best, but that don't matter.
Don't mean a darn thing.
It's rivalry week.
Yes.
It is rivalry week here in the SIAC. So when those two get together, man, it's not you got a whole year's worth of bragging rights. You know, they got the little trophy, the interchangeable trophy that goes back and forth between the two. So it's bragging rights, right? So who you got? Should I go first? You want to go first?
I mean, you can go first.
I got Clark, man. Clark. I think Clark has a better offense than Morehouse. I think Morehouse has a better defense than Clark has. But I think Morehouse's offense makes so many mistakes. They mess up in so many different ways that Clark will be able to take advantage of a few of those mistakes. And I don't think that Morehouse's defense can keep up with Clark's offense. And I think that's going to be the issue.
That is outstanding analysis.
Well, thank you.
Because I agree. Clark Atlanta still has a formidable offense that is able to score at will. If your defense is not up to par, or if your defense can't stop folks on a consistent basis, you're gonna be hurt. So I think Clark Atlanta should win this game, but I would not be surprised based on the rivalry game that this game is a little closer.
Oh, I think it'll be close.
Yeah, I think it'll be close because I think these teams, unlike a few years, are a little more evenly matched than we think they are, especially Morehouse being able to play defense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, the next game up is Benedict going down to Savannah State. Benedict going to Savannah State. Now, this will be interesting. This will be interesting because Savannah State has a good defense.
They do.
They have a really good defense, and their defense has frustrated a lot of teams all year. They frustrated a lot of teams, but their offense sucks. You know, I want to say something poetic, something nice, something, maybe use a SAT word or something, an ACT word or something, but sometimes you just got to say sucks.
Yes. And
Savannah State offense sucks. They are terrible on a bunch of different levels of terrible.
They can use some improvement.
Okay. Well, thank you for being so diplomatic.
No problem. That's what we do here, man. We both have our role.
But here's the thing. Benedict's offense hadn't been showing me much lately.
So you're saying they're a little bit above suck?
They're a little bit above suck.
Okay.
A little bit above suck. But Benedict's running game is just so good anyway. They'll be able to run the ball. But Savannah State's offense is not going to move the ball. They aren't going to move the ball at all on Benedict's defense. And Savannah State's special teams have gave up a few scores this year also.
And that is not the special team. That is not what you want to do against Benedict.
That is not what Benedict, every game except the Virginia Lynchburg and Albany State game, the special teams or the defense has scored. Every game. Every game.
And this is where the difference of the game can be. I think Savannah State, number one, if Savannah State wins this game, don't be surprised.
I will.
I won't be, only because I think Savannah State's defense keeps them and can keep them in it for a long period of time. And I think they have big playability on offense. They just can't keep consistency on offense. So they may be able to have, the likes of Jaden Adams, the likes of, even their quarterback was able to run the football a little bit. But when it comes down to Benedict and their defense is going to score 14 points.
Exactly.
And that might be the ball game.
That might be the ball game.
14-0.
That might be the ball game. I see 2 pick sixes coming back, maybe a scoop and score.
Because you're talking about true freshmen for Savannah State?
Yeah.
Yeah, against that defense.
Yeah, once I like to say, monsters. They are monsters.
I'm going to tell you what. Well, we'll get that. We'll get to that in a second. We'll get to it. All right.
The next game is Kentucky State going to Lane. Now, before we talk about this game, I'm going to tell you something I don't like.
What don't you like, Sly? Tell them how you feel.
Like. This is rivalry week. I would love for Kentucky State to be playing Central State this week instead of the first week of the season.
There was a couple of switches this year that happened because I know even Allen and Benedict usually play the last week of the season.
Well, no, they always play the Edward Waters and
oh, that's right, the AME Classic. That's right.
The AME
Forgive
Classic.
me.
The AME Classic. So, but even though Benedict and Allen is more of a natural rivalry, but the AME Church is spoken. Mm-hmm. But anyway, Kentucky State is going to play Lane. Lane don't have much of a Lane. Look at here. Denham Johnson may break his passing record. The kid Cyprien may break his. You know what? Cyprien may feel generous, and since he had so many yards, this time they'll let John McCall get all the yards this time. It's gonna be ugly, man. Come on, man. I know you want to say. I know you sitting up here trying to find the positive line, and you trying to find just a little bit to say something nice, but it's gonna be ugly, man.
Lane is fighting for this one win, and we'll find some fight to keep it close in the first few minutes.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, yeah, if that makes you feel better.
That's about all I can spin it. That's about it. Kentucky State is fighting for everything.
Kentucky State, they are fighting for everything because Kentucky State has a outside chance.
They do.
Of making it to the Division II playoffs. And the only thing Kentucky State has to do, they have to keep winning.
Yes.
They have to keep winning it. Kentucky State playoffs started last week.
It did.
They started last week. So if Kentucky State, they want to win in advance. That's all they can do is win in advance. And then it doesn't help them that when it comes to strength of schedule, they're playing in Lane, who has a terrible record.
Yes.
They just beat Clark Atlanta, who has a bad record.
Yes.
So those games don't help strength of schedule.
At all.
So now
and we talked to Dr. Holloman last week about tiebreaker scenarios and things of that nature, strength of schedule being one of those factors. And I got to give kudos to AD Drew of Morehouse, but also Sports Rapper, Black College Sports Network, who loves numbers. That is what he do. That's what he do. I think he sits up at night thinking about what stat he can bring up. But down to the fourth tiebreaker in this thing now, the winning percentage of common opponents, things, and Kentucky State got to hope for some things to happen.
They got to hope for Savannah State to do something.
If Savannah State with the slip up, then Kentucky State is in.
Yeah.
That's already a given. But if not,
it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. And I think that's just the only way. The only way it can happen is Savannah State beats Benedict, and that ain't gonna happen. So there you go. All right. Next game during rivalry week is the Fountain City Classic. The Fountain City Classic. Albany State will be taking on Fort Valley State. They'll be playing that in Columbus. They'll play it in Columbus. Hey, that's another stadium I actually like to call a game in. I don't know if you've ever been there. You ever called?
I have not. Have not called a game.
It's one of those bowl stadiums. It's kind of in the ground.
Love it.
Yeah,
love those kind of stadiums. That's why I love Albany State.
I love it. I love it. It's in Columbus, and I forget the name of the stadium, but it's in the ground. The press box where we're calling the game from, it looks, it's a real nice look when you're up there calling the game. I did the Tuskegee Morehouse Classic last year at that stadium. My first time calling the game in that stadium. So, wish I knew the name of the stadium. That would help.
That would help.
That would help
just a little bit.
Well, Albany State will be playing Fort Valley State. Albany State really has nothing to play for.
No.
They have nothing to play for except hometown pride.
Yes.
They don't want to lose to Fort Valley.
They do not.
So now this is the tricky situation if you as a coach. If I'm Quinn Gray as a coach, I already got home field locked up. If I win the conference, I get an automatic bid. I get the automatic bid to the playoffs. I will probably get, if I don't get a bye, if I lose, I might not get a bye, but I'll still have home field advantage in the first round.
Are there any buys? I don't think there are any buys.
The top team gets a bye.
Okay.
The top
very
team
top. Okay.
gets a bye. There used to be like the top two or four got a bye or something like that. I think it's just the top two get a bye, I think. If I'm Quinn Gray, I got a decision to make. Do I play my studs or do I let them rest? Because the game doesn't mean much.
It doesn't mean much to him in the process of strategy, but it means the world to those fans and those players.
Ooh.
Shout out to Jarvis Davis who played in this game once upon a time. Shout out to the likes of Tyrone Poole who's played in this game.
Exactly.
I think if you ask them that same question, it means the world to them. So I think you play your players. I think Fort Valley has proven themselves to be formidable for this to be a game at this point, because I think early on when you thought the team was kind of down, I think maybe you think of it in a different way if you're Quinn Gray, like, okay, if we get up, all right, let me switch in some people, things of that nature. But now I think it's going to be a game all the way through, regardless of I think the rivalry brings that up and brings that out of those players. And Fort Valley, especially seeing them not just on film, but seeing them face to face, even though they had some special teams faux pas last week, they missed 3 field goals. I think they're a up and coming team. Last couple of years, Albany State won this game with Fort Valley being the favorite. So do you flip it now? And that has, it has funny kind of things that happen within the game. So they got to be, even though you're not playing for anything, quote unquote, I think the rivalry says you give it your all in this one.
Okay. Well, that's a tough one. Now, the next part of rivalry week is Tuskegee visiting Miles, but they will not be at Miles. They will be playing this game at Legion Field. I need to double check before I say this. I said that. I need to double check and make sure.
You think they changed their mind?
Because Tuskegee attendance been kind of low, so I don't know. They might move it back to Miles. I don't know. I need to double check. But Tuskegee's playing Miles. At the beginning of the year, if you would have asked me to pick this game, I would have said Tuskegee runs away with it. I would have said Tuskegee, and it probably would have been a 2-touchdown game. Now, I say it might be Miles by a touchdown. Miles by a touchdown. That's who I'm going to go with. I like what that Miles team has did. I can't call them young anymore.
No, you can't. And Tuskegee got young due to injury.
Yeah, Tuskegee got young and Miles grew up.
And they got young in a hurry. and didn't have the quarterback got an opportunity to grow up because he's gotten some games, but not as many as the youngsters for Miles. So at this point, I call it even. And I think Miles has a slight advantage in this game because they've played some opponents and have experienced some winning. They lost their last game to Fort Valley, but on that 3-game winning streak, you saw them grow up. You saw them overcome some things. So right now, they have the advantage.
Should be an interesting one, man.
Very much.
Who's your pick?
I'm going to go Miles this game.
I'm going Miles, too. All right, well, we'll see. Well, our final game from Rivalry Week, our final game.
I was about to compliment you from saying, because you went through all of them saying Rivalry. You went through all the games saying that without messing it up and got that last one.
Got the last one.
That's all right, though. It be like that sometimes.
Trip me up, man.
It's all right.
Trip me up. Sometimes it happens.
Work on it in the post-edit.
Yeah, we get it in the post-edit. We'll put it together in the post-edit.
Yep.
All right, well, we have this one right here in Columbia, it's not Columbia, South Carolina. The game will be in Winnsboro at Fairfield Central High School. It is actually homecoming and senior night for Allen. They'll be taking on Edward Waters in the Battle of the AME Church. The Battle of the AMEs, the battle for the Bishop.
The reason I'm laughing, man, is because you being a Columbia native, listen, you got to point out that fact.
I got to point out that Winnsboro is not Columbia. I got to let people know Winnsboro is not Columbia. And the people from Winnsboro will get mad if you say they are Columbia.
Ooh.
Yeah, Fairfield Central, proud town down there. Good football at Fairfield Central. But yeah, Allen will be hosting Edward Waters. Now, when you look at this game, first thing you want to do, you want to look at the standings in the SIAC.
You do.
Right now, in 4th place in the SIAC, it is a tie. Edward Waters is 4-3. Allen is 4-3. And actually, Fort Valley is 4-3 also.
They are.
But here's the game. Remember, we have that crossover game at the end of the year, at the end of the season. Somebody will be playing the Conference of Carolinas. All right? It's the 3rd and the 4th place team. Kentucky State kind of has that 3rd place wrapped up. Allen and Edward Waters, they have something to play for.
They do.
This is, of course they want to play for the love and admiration of the bishop of the AME Church, but they got something more important now.
They do.
A chance for an extra game.
The stakes have become high.
The stakes have become higher.
As De La Soul would say.
There you go. This game means a lot right now. This game means a lot. Edward Waters taking on Allen. And you're going to have 2 really good running games facing up against each other. 2 really good backs. Fabian Duncan, leading rusher in the conference. John Darius, 2nd leading rusher in the conference. These 2 guys, this may be the quickest game ever.
It may be. And even the complimentary backs after that, man. You're talking about Brady Tillman as well, running the football for Edward Waters. But, man, I think this game comes down to this. I think they have to condense the passing game plan for Noah Biden, because you talked about it. 5 interceptions in his last game. You may have to let the running games take over, or at least play a bigger role if you want to get this game. They have proven that they can play offense. They have proven they can play defense. I mean, it's just a matter of what Edward Waters' team shows up that day. I think it's a matter of whether or not Fabian Duncan shortens the game and does not allow that offense of Edward Waters to remain on the field, or whether or not that offensive team goes up and down the field. You already mentioned the secondary of Edward Waters, David Law, Mortimer, and company. They're able to stop a passing game. Can they stop Jameer Dismukes running the football is the other factor that you have to have in there. So if Allen is able to shrink this game some and don't allow Edward Waters to be on the field with that high-powered offense, the potential of that high-powered offense, we've seen it. We've seen it without. We've seen them, perform. If they can do that and control the clock, they have a great chance in Winnsboro.
They do. And here's my thing. I think that Jameer Dismukes will be the X factor to this game. Because what's going to happen, Coach Pearl's going to run the ball at you. Fabian Duncan is going to get 25 carries. He's going to get 25 carries. So what happens when he starts to get those carries, we'll see how disciplined that Edward Waters defense is. Will those safeties start to cheat up? Will those safeties start to come up, and will the defensive coordinator start to put 8 in the box? If he puts 8 in the box to control Fabian Duncan, and he lines those outside receivers up man to man, or he has that tight end, that big tight end that Allen has, and he's being covered by a linebacker, can Jameer Dismukes run the play action?
He can.
Can he run the play action, hit that big tight end in the center of the field, get some of those receivers on the outside in one-on-one situations? Can they make something happen? That's going to be the question.
It very well is the question, man, because you're talking about two good to great offensive minds. I would say the combo offensive minds of offensive coordinator Eric Dooley and head coach Brian Jenkins against Cedric Pearl, who is a master, I think, of running the football and setting up the play action pass within the conference. I think if he is in his bag doing that, the game takes on an interesting tone because it could be really short, or if Edward Waters gets up in the passing game and forces Allen out of what they do usually, it could be a really long game.
Yes.
So we would have to see kind of what they did against Clark Atlanta. That was not a short game at all.
No. Nah. Well, who are you picking?
I'm gonna go Edward Waters.
I'm gonna go against you.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Allen.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Allen. I think Allen's running game will be too strong, and I think Allen's defense is really tough. And they put pressure on these quarterbacks. They hit these quarterbacks.
They do.
And I think what Allen really does really well, they take away the run. Passing game, they'll give up some yardage in passing game, but I think they take away the run. And I think the fact that Barton is on a really, really bad streak these past few games, I think they can take advantage of that. They're going to hit them. They're going to get pressure on them. What Allen does, they get pressure on the quarterback. They hit the quarterback. Hell, they done took out 2 quarterbacks already this year. So they hit quarterbacks. And I think Barton's going to get hit. He's going to get hit, and he's going to get hit hard. So I'm going to say Allen.
Okay. All right. I like it. I like it.
Jamie, that's it.
Man, that's it.
That's it for the week, man.
It is, man. This is a big week.
Where you going to be at this week?
I will possibly be at Clark Atlanta Morehouse, but I'm gonna say possibly. So folks, don't be disappointed if you don't hear me. It's just some things that have come up, some stuff that's a little more important.
There you go.
I'm gonna say that. I can say that. But
there you go.
Yeah, so you might hear me, you might not. But either way, that Panther Sports Network is phenomenal.
Phenomenal. I love what those students do. I love what those students do.
Might need to teach a student how to do what we do. But wouldn't that take us out?
I might lose my job.
Never mind, man. I can't teach you.
No, can't teach you. Got to learn on your own.
Yeah.
Got to get it out the mud, like the kids say. Get it out the mud. Get it out the mud. Well, I'm going to be Tuskegee versus Miles. Tuskegee versus Miles. I think that's at Legion Field. We're going to have to check and make sure.
That's going to be a sneaky good game too, man.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be a fun game.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a fun game. But I'm going to be at the historic Legion Field, calling a good one. So, yeah.
Second time this year, too.
Yeah, second time this year at Legion Field. Second time this year.
Look at you.
Hey, man. And once again, fans, no matter where we are, man, if you see us, man, let me know.
Yes.
Let me know. We give shout-outs on the show. We give shout-outs to the people who watch us and the people who support us. For those of you in the comments, make sure you leave a comment. Let us know what you think.
Because we look at the comments. Please understand. Y'all remember them last week? I do.
I respond.
I respond back, too.
We respond back, man. You know? We're the fun-loving guys.
Yes, we are, man.
If you want the serious and the smart, real journalists, stick around on D2 Wednesdays so you can watch SJG and K Ferg over there.
Listen, hard-hitting analysis, you know what I'm saying, culture, they gonna give it all to you. You know, we just barely getting by.
We barely getting by.
That's all.
But it's D2 Wednesdays here on HBCU Game Day. He's Jamie Walker.
I am he.
I am Sly Williams.
That is him.
We will see you next week on the HBCU Sit Down.
No.
Here.
Oh, the SIAC Sit Down.
I was testing you, brother.
Hey, I caught you.
I was testing you.
Okay.
Okay. It's the SIAC Sit Down here on HBCU Game Day.